Hey everyone, Hamdi here, Solutions Engineer at RunReveal. Today we're going to be diving into data pipelines, one of the most powerful features that saves you money and makes your security data actually useful. I'm going to show you a real pipeline we've built for our networking logs and break down the four capabilities: transforms, enrich, filter, and drop. Here's the reality most security teams face. You're ingesting thousands or millions of log events, but a huge percent of it is noise. Internal traffic, health checks, automated scans, stuff you don't necessarily need for threat detection. Now with traditional SIEMs, you're paying to store all of that. And if you want to clean it up, you're buying another tool from another vendor just to pipeline your data before it hits storage. We built pipelines directly into RunReveal. And remember, you only pay for the data you keep, not what you ingest or filter out. So every event you drop through pipelines is savings on your bill. Let me show you how this works with our networking logs pipeline. All right, here's our networking pipeline. You can see what you want to start with is creating a topic so that you focus on that specific log, that networking. The networking source type equals flow. And what we'll do is show you what a transformation looks like. So as you know, we standardize field formats, converting IP addresses to consistent formats, normalizing timestamps, restructuring nested JSON, and this makes querying faster and ensures consistency across different log sources. Now, we do already have a source for these flow logs coming from AWS, but if you wanted to create your own transformation, here's an example of one that we've built for our journal ID logs. And so you can see here, you can add a new rule, but we've got some transformation rules that are going to extract from the certain JSON and output to the service name, extract JSON from host name, add a prefix, and manipulate that data to connect it to resources, as well as extracting the JSON host name and adding to a tag. Now, this is an example that we've built internally. You can see it'll show you what that normalized event looks like. But let's go back to our pipeline for our networking logs. Now we'll go ahead and go to pipelines. We've built multiple pipelines. One thing I want to show you before we kind of dive into the pipeline itself is you'll be able to get some metrics on how much data is, what events are coming through this pipeline, which topics are they subscribed to, the amount of steps, but then also how many logs are being filtered out. So over here, we can see there's 102 gigabytes being filtered, 42.4% logs being filtered. Now, what I want you to think about is if you were able to achieve this in your traditional SIEM today, what would be the amount of work or effort it would take to do that? And is cost going to be affected from an ingestion versus storage level? And so as we take away 42% of these logs, we're only spending money on logs that are being stored within. Great. Now, let's actually talk about what we're doing to achieve this 42%. So if I go ahead and go to edit, you'll see that I've added a couple of steps. Now to the right, you can see very easy drop down menu that allows you to kind of drag and drop and build your pipeline without having to, build a query, use query language to build it out. We try to make this as simple as possible. So if you have filters, you can run those. If you want to sample events, drop events, again, just like we saw those transformations you can build, this is something that you can apply as well. And then, of course, enriching. So not only do we have out-of-the-box enrichment such as domain threat intelligence, IP threat intelligence, if you have specific enrichments, you can very well go in here and attach that as well, and then have those preconditions that will tag your logs. Now, let's quickly run through what we're doing for these logs to achieve that 42% drop. We're dropping events for a CIDR match of normalized source IP 172 to the normalized, as well as the normalized destination IP of 172 with this pattern. Now, this is going to look for all these IPs that we've normalized and drop these logs. And then also we want to drop events with an event name that's just dash. Why are we doing this? Because if the event name is dash, it's probably a noisy or a bad log that's produced, and we want to drop it because it brings us no value. And then we are running all enrichments and filters, which are just our normalized and basic filters and enrichments that we have out of the box on these logs. And so now that we've really gone and seen this, the real impact is that you're able to see the percentage that's dropped and still have control of the cost and the logs that are being ingested. Now with most platforms, again, you're going to need to configure it to talk to your SIEM, pay for both solutions, have a separate pipeline tool, and still get charged for data that might be dropped. But in RunReveal, we've built it. It's one platform, one build, and drop data costs you nothing. So that's data pipelines: transform for consistency, enrich for context, filter for focus, and drop for savings. In my next video, I'll show you how we're going to use AI chat to now query this cleaned, enriched data and build custom detections. If you want help building your first pipeline, have questions around specific use cases, drop a comment or just reach out directly. Let's make your security data work smarter, not harder.